Administration from Symbiosis, plus a graduate degree in Humanities from Osmania University, Hyderabad. Mr. Kumar Rajagopalan is the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives and he is the Country Head of India at Dexian, bringing over 30 years of experience in IT and finance to his role. With a focus on aligning means with ends, Kumar has maximizes financial outcome through the strategic use of IT tools. He leads shared services, centralized recruiting, and managed services. Beginning his career in finance, he has transitioned himself to leading Indian operations at Dexian. He has implemented large-scale enterprise solutions for multinational companies, specializing in system consolidation. As a chartered accountant from India with various technology certifications, his expertise in finance and technology is invaluable. Mr. M.K. Anand is the co-founder of Sea Change Consulting, an organization focused on knowledge and growth management consulting for businesses, and chairman of MSME initiatives at the Andhra Chamber of Commerce, Chennai. He is also a strategic business advisor and is involved in MSMEs initiatives in various states. Sea Change Consulting aims to be a top player in Indian consulting landscape, particularly for MSMEs under his stable leadership. We all know that on this 27th of June, the MSME, International MSME Day is being celebrated. So we coincide this event today to go along with the International MSME Day. And as we gather here today, to launch a book that champions the spirit of entrepreneurship and small businesses, it is also important to note that just a couple of days from now, we will have the International MSME Day. Declared by the United Nations, this day recognizes the vital contribution of MSME to global economy. MSMEs account for more than 90% of businesses and 60 to 70% of employment worldwide. Today's event is not just about a book. It's about celebrating the resilience and potential of MSMEs that shape our economies every day. So June 7, 2024, MSME Day was hosted in Geneva and organized by the International Council for Small Businesses, ICSB. It focuses on the theme of human-centered entrepreneurship, emphasizing the essential role of micro, small, and medium enterprises in promoting economic growth and innovation. The event brought together policymakers, business leaders, and entrepreneurs to discuss the challenges and opportunities facing the MSME sector, with a particular focus on enhancing access to finance, technology, and markets. Ultimately, MSME Day 2024 aimed to foster collaboration and partnerships that empower small companies. The upcoming MSME Day 2025, to be hosted at the United Nations in New York, will focus on the theme Business for MSMEs, Connecting the Entrepreneurs. How better can it be? The same theme that our Mr. Prakash is going to talk to is about the entrepreneurs of the MSME, and also the theme coincides with the coming MSME Day. Organized by the International Council for Small Business, the event will highlight the crucial role of fostering innovation, leadership, and business policy making, etc. Featuring keynote speeches, panels, and networking sessions, the MSME Day aims to strengthen partnerships and build networks that support the success and sustainability of MSMEs across the world. Having said so much about the MSME Day, let's now understand in brief what is the 9 habits of super successful MSMEs, the book that is going to be launched. This book is designed to be a comprehensive guide for MSMEs, aiming to achieve continuous and consistent success. This book offers practical insights and actionable strategies for developing and maintaining successful habits in various aspects of business operations. Each chapter delves into a specific habit, providing real-world examples, case studies, and step-by-step guidance. Whether you are an inspiring entrepreneur or an established business owner, This book will serve as your bedside guide, offering valuable advice and inspiration to help you scale new and greater heights. By adopting the habits outlined in this book, you will be equipped to navigate the complexities of running an MSME, seize opportunities for growth, and build a resilient and prosperous business. In conclusion, the power of habits cannot be underestimated. They shape our actions, define our success, and determine our future. For MSMEs, cultivating successful habits is not just a choice, but a necessity of achieving sustained growth and excellence. The book is your roadmap to developing the habits that will propel your business to new heights. Embrace the journey and let the power of the habits transform your MSME into a super successful enterprise. This is just one paragraph of what book that our dear Mr. Prakash has written, which we are all going to see. Before I am going to ask the formal book launch, let's have a small AV about the book. Thank you. So, are we all ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we all ready?
Yes.
Okay. So it is time to have the most pleasant part of the evening. We launched the book and we have been waiting for this, and sincere thanks to Mr. Prakash for having put all his time and energy and effort in bringing this. I'd like to invite the dignitaries on the dais to step forward and please launch this book.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
It's here.
sir. Sir, please.
Thank you. Congratulations.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now the book is launched. What should all of us do now? what should all of us do now?
Let's hear from the author.
No, we should buy the book. Yeah, when the film is announced in the theater, what should we all do now? We go buy tickets and watch the movie, right? So, I think that it is an earnest request that all of us cherish the benefits of the thoughts of Mr. Prakash in writing this book, and the best way to realize that and get that cherished thoughts is to see that the book is spread. So here is a nice book that has come out which helps MSMEs. Most of us run MSME businesses, so it will be helpful for us. So with these thoughts, I would like to now give a brief intro which I have already done about Mr. Anil Kumar, who is the founder and group CEO of Samunati. We request Mr. Anil Kumar to give his chief guest address.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's my privilege to be here and receive a copy of this book from Mr. Prakash. Well, Mr. Prakash has many roles for me in my life. But what I would focus on today for this evening is Mr. Prakash as someone whom I have seen, witnessed, and been a beneficiary of on the professional side. We both, while we met in a different context in Chennai, we actually had met much before in one of the training programs when I was with ICICI Bank, and Mr. Prakash was one of the trainers there. And we had the privilege of doing, I distinctly remember the visioning exercise along with Terence Shenoy, if you remember Mr. Prakash. And that exercise was so meaningful and profound at that point in time. If I'm right, it was early, or maybe late 90s, so to say, 98, 99 types. And at that point in time, I was still an assistant manager in ICICI Bank. Since they said it is a visioning exercise, what's wrong in dreaming? Because it doesn't cost much. So they had asked about 5-6 items to dream of, and I had mentioned those 5-6 items, and it was much later, after 10-12 years, one of the participants in the training program reminded, Anil, you remember that that dreaming exercise that we did along with Mr. Terence Shenoy and Mr. Prakash? Did you go back and check what it is? I said, no, boss, I had forgotten it was a training meant to be relaxing. What about it? I don't know about me, but I distinctly remember you telling me that you would like to go and acquire an education qualification outside India. And I just remembered that you have just come back from Asian Institute of Management, and how did you do that? I said it was a dreaming exercise. Then as luck had it, we both came together to be in Chennai, and then my stint with IFMR was made richer and meaningful when Mr. Prakash agreed to be my professional coach, my executive coach. The years that I spent in IFMR as a newly bred CEO, so to say, because I was a chief manager in ICICI Bank and suddenly was put in the role of group CEO of one of the entities of IFMR, actually two. Group CEO means at least you have to have 2 companies. So I was the CEO for 3 of their companies and was out of my depth in terms of what does the role entail and what should I do. And then I happened to request him if he can spare some time to coach me in that journey of from being a chief manager, chief manager to a CEO, and the intensity that he brought to the entire exercise, I would say, has been immensely valuable. Whenever I hear about my own introduction in terms of the profile, I always go back to the people who have made this profile a reality. And I have no hesitation in saying that Mr. Prakash is one of those few people who made who I am on the professional side. all your books, as you know, Mr. Prakash, are part of what I collect in my office to be generously gifted to whoever comes to the office. 101 Life Skills, Spiritual CEO, Dharma Tales, and now the fourth one would add on my giveaway library, so to say, where I usually order a bunch of books, and whoever comes, depending on the context of it, I get to share. So without even going through it, I'm traveling to Delhi, so that journey is good enough for me to finish off this book, but without even going through a bunch of books would immediately go to my office. Now I have not read this book. I did not have the privilege of getting a pre-copy, so to say, a pre-read, but I certainly know what this would contain. Maybe 9 to the power of 9 gems, I would say, because I have been, as I mentioned, at the cost of repetition, a beneficiary of what Mr. Prakash brings to the table. And quickly glancing through, the 9 habits, many of them reminded me of the intense sessions that we had. At times we used to forget the time that we have spent on discussing the real life issues for me as the CEO during my coaching exercise to a theoretical framework. He always had this beautiful approach of taking away the emotion from the situation, analyzing it purely from the dimension of people involved in the situation, and a framework that would help the one to make the decision, which was me. He never used to make a decision. He would say, I will give you the inputs on what should you look at while making this decision, and then let me make the decision. The beauty of that approach, as I realize now, is that he was not giving me a fish with a solution. He was actually helping me learn fishing, so that I know that when I cease to be his mentee, so to say, or he would, jokingly say, "Acha coach ka dengo, I'm a coach." So when I am your, when I cease to be a mentee, how do I continue this journey of, the learning that I have had? And that's what has been immensely valuable, and the approach that Mr. Prakash brings to the table. Now this is an indirect way of touching millions of people, indirect way of empowering billions of people, I would say. And I have no hesitation that the MSMEs, all of us know what MSMEs are to this country, right? More than 85-86% of the business in this country, the GDP in this country gets contributed by MSMEs, and they are as a sector, they are the largest employer in this country. And I don't want to tell about the power and the importance of MSMEs to this audience. All of us know. I would certainly make my best effort to make this book available to as many MSMEs that I would touch, and make them get the wisdom that I had the privilege of getting in person from you, Mr. Prakash. So may this work that you have tirelessly put together in spite of your taxing schedules, which I am familiar with, and on the personal side, if you know, he is available on the mails at 3:15 a.m. And if I don't respond to any of the mails, at 12:30, 1 o'clock, I may get a reminder saying, when do you sleep, man? That's what I would say, and I would avoid getting a response unless he has created some artificial intelligence within the computer to say, if Anil doesn't respond by this time, send one reminder. Right? Always abreast with technology and ahead of technology to use. But on a serious note, I'm really looking forward to reading this book. More importantly, looking forward to taking this book to the larger audience for a greater good. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. I think many of us would, sir, many of us would share your thought that not only you, including me, many would have been affected by this man. Positive. He has that halo of energy around him, and working with him, I did not know you were getting up at midnight, or I used to be on my toes on this. Anyway, thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Mr. our own Mr. M.K. Anand. He's the chairman MSME panel, Andhra Chamber of Commerce, and founder of Sea Change Consulting. He has empowered several MSMEs across sectors. I request Mr. Anand to give his views on the evening and also the book and Mr. Prakash. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. JNS. Heartful evening, Mr. Anil, Mr. Kumar, and my dear partner and my mentor, Prakash Sheshadri sir, the author of the day, and all the guests, invitees, media, and friends. Last but not the least, my dear Sea Change team, all the experts who are here, and office team as well. A very good evening to each and every one of you. Normally, this podium is quite familiar to me because I am part of the chamber in the honorary position of MSME panel. So I regularly come and talk many sessions, hundreds of sessions, but this session is really touchy to me. So I have a prepared speech. Congratulations, Mr. Prakash, for your wisdom-packed book titled 9 Habits of Super Successful MSMEs. Sir, I vividly recall our conversation a couple of months ago when you shared your desire to gift MSMEs. This is a fitting time because 27 June, we are going to celebrate 9th edition of International MSME Day. 2017, UN declared 27 June is the first MSME International Day, and we are going to celebrate on 27, which is few days from now. And I was absolutely delighted when he said, I'm going to gift MSMEs, because he's been with multinationals, corporate organizations, coach for many of the leading CEOs, as beautifully Mr. Anil said, but he wanted to give his masterpiece to MSMEs, so I was so delighted, sir. Thank you so much for serving this greater community. If some of you may not know about MSMEs, because I'm actually blended with MSMEs over the last 30 years, we are contributing $1.2 trillion GDP of the country. Can you believe this? Our India's GDP is $4.18 trillion today, and MSMEs are contributing 30% of that, which is roughly about $1.2 trillion economy. But we are working as silos, small organization here and there. Can you all guess how many MSMEs are there in India? How many companies are there as MSMEs in India? Anybody guess? Wild guess?
5 million.
We have 70 million MSMEs in the country. It's about 7 crores. Out of which 99.99% are under micro category, which are below 5 crores turnover. And that's a real gift by writing a book for MSMEs, which Mr. Prakash did it. When I look back at my 32 years journey of working with MSMEs, those days it was called SSE, small scale industries, startups and change makers across India, a few relationships stand out as sacred. Among them, my association with Mr. Prakash Sheshadri is just not a professional relationship, it is a transformation. We call him the corporate sage Prakash, and rightly so. In a world obsessed with the metrics and milestones, Mr. Prakash brings something rare which is profound. Our partnership at Sea Change is rooted not only in strategy and systems, but in soulful service to entrepreneurs, to the nation, and humanity. My entrepreneurial journey began well before Sea Change was established many years ago with Maptech Infosoft, where we specialized in providing IT solutions and services, which we successfully served hundreds of clients. I consistently observed a significant void within micro, small, medium enterprises. They are the backbone of our economy, as you all know. Even the world economy, 50% GDP of the world is coming from MSME sector. 30% GDP of India is from MSME, 40% from manufacturing, and 45% exports. Yet, many MSMEs struggle not just with the technology adoption, but with fundamental aspects of strategy and execution towards sustainable growth. They often lacked access to the kind of expert guidance and support that larger corporations could really offer. This realization for me, born from direct experience at Maptech Infosoft, being an MSME myself and first generation entrepreneur, became the impetus for Sea Change. We did not just want to be another consulting company. We felt a strong calling to specifically serve the MSME sector, where we saw the immense potential stifled by lack of structured guidance from strategy development right through the effective execution. We understood that our India's economy to truly flourish, its MSMEs needed robust, accessible support to navigate complexities, optimize operations, and achieve their full potential. This is why we embarked on our journey as a consulting company dedicated to this vital sector since 2002. Where I bring value proportion through people resources, subject matter experts in networking, connects, and real world scenarios and problem statements from years of co-traveling to with micro, small, medium enterprises. Mr. Prakash brings insights, depth, frameworks, and inner alignment. Together we crafted models that help entrepreneurs go beyond firefighting into purpose-led, value-driven leadership. This resonates with the Tirukural's emphasis on right-wise contact and foresight in action. It is a powerful blend and a case study for MBA students. When I operate from outer clarity, Mr. Prakash from inner stillness. When I translate chaos into structure, he converts noise into silence. When I push boundaries, he reminds me to pause and align. Together, we have coached hundreds of entrepreneurs, MSMEs, helping them reimagine not just their business models, but their mindsets. Our combined work in the MSME sector has touched manufacturing units, service firms, family businesses, tech startups, and rural enterprises with one consistent focus. When we build an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur will build a nation. Mr. Prakash's calm presence, deep listening, and heartfulness-inspired methods have helped founders reconnect with their original intent, the team harmony and joy of creation. A fitting Tirukural for our mission with the MSMEs, emphasizing the importance of sound planning and execution to avoid ruin is Kundreri Yanai Por Kandetral Tan Kai Tondagat Seivan Vinay, Kural 758. What it means? The meaning is the action, one who acts with the resources in hand, is like watching an elephant fight from a hill, clear and without much risk. This Kural beautifully illustrates the advantage of strategic planning and having necessary resources, be it capital, knowledge, or clear vision, before embarking on an endeavor. A crucial lesson for MSMEs, right? Precisely, his book 9 Habits of Super Successful MSMEs covers that all. All 9 habits intensely covered the pointers, habits to inculcate, questioning themselves, questions to ponder, and frameworks too. Finally, Mr. Prakash always goes extra mile. The author went extra mile in giving a bonus of 10 business habits beyond these 9 habits in a short form, ready to apply method as well. When you go through the book, the last chapter, if you find, after the 9 habits, he has given additional 10 habits, what is called business habits, 10 business habits. Our frameworks and ideas have found life in publications. This is his 15th book. Mind you, it's a 15th book. I'm sure you all be happy. to give him a round of applause. And three books to my credit as well, totaling 18 books Sea Change published, other than hundreds of articles, thousands of articles Mr. Prakash has written, blogs, videos, social media content. Mr. Adel, I hope you know now why 3:15 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. and all that. Our MSME toolkits and co-branded offerings that are now being adopted across India by quite a lot of MSMEs under the platform called C360 Degree Platform, which is an AI-enabled platform recently launched. About 8,000 people are availing that. The Pillars of Mental Mastery, which is a very sacred service that he has launched for MSMEs, which is yet to get really surfaced in the marketplace. Initiative and more. Mr. Prakash's writing reflects his essence: clear, concise, compassionate, always pointing the reader inward before pushing them outward. His work embodies the Sanskrit concept, prajna, a profound wisdom. In our Startups with Soul mentoring circles, Mr. Prakash's guidance is often the turning point for many founders. I see quite a lot of Chennai-based large organization founders are sitting here. Just to recognize the presence of somebody who's sitting here very subtly, already Patyan, the Managing Director and CEO, sitting right here. Thank you, Mr. Moses, for joining us. Many founders who feel burnt out or disconnected. It does not offer quick fixes. It helps people see themselves clearly. And once that shift happens, decisions become easier, growth becomes natural, and leadership becomes authentic. It reminds young leaders that startups are not just about scale, they are about sankalpa, which is intention. This concept sankalpa, meaning a firm resolve or intention, is foundational in Indian philosophy and critical for any entrepreneurial venture. Serving humanity through heartfulness. Mr. Prakash's life is inseparable from his heartfulness practice. Whether conducting yogic transmission sessions, mentoring seekers, or volunteering in silence, he leads by being. He is not human doing, he is human being. He has helped integrate heartfulness-based inner governance modules into business coaching, educational system, and community development programs. For him, service is not an act, it is a way of life. This echoes the ancient Indian ethos, Loka Kalyana, meaning the welfare of the world. Let me close my talk by saying, a sage in the boardroom and beyond. In Mr. Prakash, I found more than a partner. I have found a mirror, a mentor, and a constant reminder that real change is not a sprint, but a sacred journey. Together we are building Sea Change, not just as a consulting firm, but as a national movement for human-centered leadership and sustainable entrepreneurship. India needs more Mr. Prakash Seshatris. Until then, I am grateful to build with one whom we have flesh and blood right here with us. My humble gratitude to each one of you. God bless all. Thank you.
What should I say? What I knew Mr. Prakash 11 minutes ago, and in this 11 minutes I know much more. Thank you. I get reminded of two characters. Many of you would know these two characters. There was a character played by S.V. Rangarao in the movie Maya Bazaar. All of you have seen that character? If he does like this, something happens. Correct? Also, Mr. Rajnikant, who played Robo. If he takes the book and does this, he finishes the book. Is Mr. Prakash like that? Because I don't think even if I get up at 3:15, we can write so many articles like he writes. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Now I'd like to request Mr. Kumar Rajgopalan, Vice President Strategic Initiatives and Country Head at Texion, who brings a lot of global insight. Request you to kindly give your distinguished guest address, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Good evening, all. So, before I start this book, I just want to remind what Anil has said. It's been Prakash Sheshatri has always been a good mentor to all of us. Be it it's Anil Kumar or Kumar Rajgopalan. Some Kumar is always associated. But the most important part is, in his two previous books, one is Spiritual CEO, the other one is Dharma Tales. In fact, I wrote the last chapter in this book. He didn't allow me to write the last chapter because I think probably Anil Kumar was a obedient mentee and I'm not. So probably he was looking at that way. Or he wrote this book and said, like, at least now I cannot keep telling you, reminding you what are the values and how do you do it. At least read the book. So that may be one of the reasons. But again, I'll probably take a small pause here, take a 10-year journey. 2015, in fact, when I was assuming this role in Texion, it wasn't a large company, it was a very, very small company at that point of time. And in a namesake, it was a multinational company. And in India, very handful of people. So the first thing first, like which in fact I had close to about like 7 or 8 leaders, so-called directors, and then about like 20 are team members. So the directors are more than the team members, I believe at that point of time. And it was a 24/7 shop, the large office too. And by evening, around like 8:30, everybody will leave. And I would be along with the security in the office. The whole office in the night shift with the security, sometimes it's so scary. But the only thought which I had at that point of time is, how do I build this office, or how do I build this enterprise into a very large enterprise and provide as many employments here. So the first training, I called Mr. Prakash. He came there. I think the first session was about like 4x productivity. That was the topic which was chosen. And mentoring each and every director, what do we do? But now looking back at 10 years, it's not 4x. We are almost like 100x in terms of the numbers. And we established not only in Chennai, close to about like 6 offices around India, in all the metros, and about like 2,000 people right now working. And it's one of the fastest growing companies. In fact, including the promoters, everybody met Mr. Prakash. So that way, I would probably say that was an eye-opener. That session was an eye-opener, and constantly we have been interacting with him and wanted to take an advice that some of times if there is a way to kind of go through. And sometimes, in fact, I totally forgot to ask certain advices, and he reminded me with a couple of books he asked me to write, and I had the privilege of reading the book even before anybody could read it, and wrote the last chapter. So which means that like not once, each of the books like had to at least read 6 or 7 times to take it inside to write the last chapter. So that way is like kind of, it was a very good reminder for me to go through that one. So the 9 Habits of Super Successful MSMEs, that book, in fact, I think there is a deviation from him from the previous books. The previous books, Spiritual CEO, Dharma Tales, everything is for a CEO. So which means that like for a person who is at the top, right? But this one, I think probably he's put it for the corporate as a whole, for the company as a whole, because he found so many of me like that, like CEOs there in the corporate world. It would be good to have at least build the entire layer, not just the CEO. That way I look at it, MSMEs per se requires this kind of a book, and all the leaders within the MSMEs. Kind of flipping this one, the name itself, instead of saying the MSMEs in terms of enterprise, I would say micro, small, medium, and expandable habits. Probably that's the most appropriate word for the industry at this point of time. Because the first thing for all the MSME entrepreneurs, dreaming is always a problem. Every day there's a lot of problems for them, including the finance, including the legal, including working with multiple teams and external teams, internal teams. So for him, the expandability becomes a problem. And when that expandability is a problem, the first and foremost thing is the dreaming. You stop dreaming, you stop expanding. So which means that like it has to be a parallel activity, and to have that one, a very clear purpose for which the enterprise is built and the main objective for which they are pursuing is very, very important. Once that purpose is known, and that's what I think probably it's covered in this book, because I didn't read like what Anil said, so it's the first time they gave it to me. Once the purpose is built, the entire thing falls in place. But in a very short span, I read the last chapter, which is very, very resonating to me, because that's where day in, day out I do that one, building the large, great teams and the conflict resolution. As soon as the MSMEs kind of grow, the growth path is very, very difficult. I can tell you, like kind of for everybody, the growth path is difficult for two reasons. One is the fear of failure, and the second one is always the people around you always make you feel that like you are the king, which is not the case actually. They give you day in, day out, praise you, so many things, and most of the time you have to ignore because those praises are selfish in nature. But to know your true sense and to kind of make you come out of that one, you have to go into almost zero ego, eliminate everything, and then come into that stage where you have nothing to kind of prove, but to kind of make sure that the enterprise expands much better. So this is where the last chapter, the conflict resolution, is very, very important. Because when two individuals fight each other, they are just not fighting each other. They are not allowing the large enterprises to survive or the enterprises to survive. And most importantly, they are making the journey of a CEO becomes a nightmare. And we all know in an MSME world, typically around us, like kind of you would have seen, you could have taken up a good job in a TVS, or you could have taken up a good job in some other company, have a nice, happy life. I don't know why he chose to start a company. Look at him now. He has a loan. He's running around, and constantly about like 18 hours he is going around from one place to another place. There is no success. And you are to add salt to the injury. Somebody who is working would be buying a fantastic car. And you look at it as like kind of, I could have done this, like why did I run through that one? But again, the whole equation here is a purpose. And what I realized at some point of time, going through all these things, actually you don't miss me. And every day it becomes a learning. When you start looking at it as a learning, every day you look at it kind of what you build from the scratch to a certain level. Every day you look back, you have given employment opportunities to so many people. And Anand puts it, 70 million MSMEs and contributing 1/3 of GDP. It's not going to happen. And I'll finish this with a small Panchatantra tales. And this habit also came from him because he puts a lot of stories, and this also came from him. So 3 fishes in the pond, and the pond was so good. And this is very equal to the MSME story right now. So at some point of time, it's like the 3 fish named wisdom. You can see that all the surroundings, environment, and the future. How does it look and everything. The second one was intelligent, and it's also hardworking. Knows how to survive, how to run through difficult situations, but it cannot foresee many of the stuff. But the current situation, any situation given, it will jump out and come out of the problems. The third one is called now. It lives now, don't care anything, and everything will be taken care by God. So I don't have to do much. I will happily enjoy my life, right? These 3 fishes at some point of time, when they were happily going around, there was a hot summer, no rain, and slowly the pond was drying up. So the first fish said, this time probably El Nino factor, there won't be any rain, and it would probably make this lake dry up. So there is a small creek and there is a stream which is going, which is connecting to the river. All of us somehow jump into that one and move away. But the other two did not agree. They said, no, nothing will happen. You always procrastinate, make big problems, problem statement, and we are not going to follow. The first fish, without any argument, just left and found a way, found a river, and then happily went through that one. But the second fish started feeling the heat. At some point of time, it felt that like maybe the first fish is right. Now I have to make through to the river. It tried all its energy. In the process, it kind of burnt out. Somehow, barely escaped through, and then escaped from that one and went to the river. The third one is like, it will rain. Someday it will rain. I don't want to go. It will rain. I don't want to go. They like, when it was drying up completely also, it said like, no, it will rain. Like, kind of tonight, probably I will find something. And eventually, that fish died because like it couldn't move further because there was no water anyway. So if you really look at it in the Panchatantra story, in fact, the ending was, it was basically when you don't have the wisdom, you have to get the wisdom from somebody. When you don't have the energy to run through, you learn from somebody and then run through that one. But if you wanted to avoid every opportunity, it becomes a problem for you to kind of escape. So this is a story of MSME. In a 70 million, probably about 10% would have the wisdom to kind of make it to large enterprises, even 5%. About like 50%, more than 50 to 60% barely escape. Every now and then they struggle with the problems, come out of it, but the only thing which they miss out is, instead of doing on their own, if they have somebody like Mr. Prakash to give that wisdom, probably they can foresee some of the problems to come out of it. The last one, they are not only going to die, but also tell the other people that like, don't start any enterprise because I'm dying, you will also die. So they make the negative statements and bring down the economy. So in all is like kind of these kind of books and these kind of mentors are necessary in this world because the MSMEs here, especially in India, that too in this current environment, we have to be make in India and then spend in India and then grow the economy here. We need a lot of mentors like Mr. Prakash and a lot of books we need you to publish so that like somebody who is as lazy I am, so at least have the habit of reading some of the books from you. Thank you once again. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, sir. So here is one gentleman who said that he was having a great influence by Mr. Prakash. Here is another gentleman who said he worked with him. So such nice gathering we have on the dais. I'd like to request a couple of my dear colleagues, Veera Raghavan and Sriram, Ponnadai Potrumaru Aike, for the dignitaries. Please, can you do the honors? Mr. Veera Raghavan is part of Sea Change Consulting and our team. He heads the financial management consulting portfolio within Sea Change Consulting, a very seasoned financial management expert. Mr. Sriram Narasimhan is a business development professional. He is also part of our Sea Change Consulting. Sir, one more. Yeah, Mr. Prakash, Mr. Anand will do for Mr. Prakash.
Sir.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, for.
Sir.
So, we have heard from others what he has done We have also seen what he has done. Why not we hear from him what he has done? Let's request Mr. Prakash to speak now. Thank you.
Good evening, my dear spiritual sisters and brothers. Why am I using this? I am reminded of a quote written by a late friend of mine. Some of you might recall that name, called Stephen Covey. I used to be connected with him way back when he wrote the book in 1989, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He gave this famous statement that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. That we are all in one way or other spiritually connected. தமிழ் ஒரு வார்த்தை 16 பெற்று பெருவாழ்வு வாழ்க 15 பெற்றாச்சு 16வது work in progress. I wanted to answer 2 questions that have been asked of me for a very, very long time. I haven't shared this at least in public forums. The first question is, what is the motivation to write a book? There has to be something. The second question is, how do I write a book? Because though this is apparently in terms of number a very small gathering, but the kind of people here both on the stage and off the stage represents a wide cross section of the society itself. Some of my dear brothers on the stage, my dear partner and my younger brother, Brother Anand, Brother S.G. Anil Kumar, Brother Kumar Rajagopalan, Brother R.R. Padmanabhan, Brother Supra, and I can name all of you out here who are all in some way or another part of our life journey over a period of time. I started my career way back in 1983, and right from my school days, I had been brought up on a very staple diet of self-development books, thanks to some of my teachers and 2 of my lecturers in college, who kept on insisting, if you want to make something of your life, start reading books. So I remember one of my college professors gifted me books because I refused to buy. So that habit caught on, and I had an imagination of how the world should run. Very ambitious. Not that I have changed much in that angle yet. And when I got into my second job, I was talking to my CEO, and I was saying that there are a lot of issues and this is how we have to reconstruct the company. He said, why don't you take it up and start doing something about it? And way back in 1987, my journey into training and coaching started. I wrote whatever I thought was training material, and there are many training fraternities out here who will understand. Today, developing a content is just a 30-second job. If you know how to do prompt engineering, the content is there, and how to deliver, that's a different ballgame altogether. Way back then, you need to actually sit and write. And when I started that, initially I remember that I wrote about 300 slides. Those days it was OHP, overhead projector, and paper slides, and color pens, and charts, everything I had to write. Started writing, and that's how it became a habit. So when I branched out in 1992 on my own to start my first firm, so this became a habit, and it started becoming like a parallel track, on and off. Whenever I had a chance, I used to address people, including MMA and so many other places, and also do some occasional training sessions. And then later I came at the feet of my guru in 92 end, Charity Maharaj, Sri Ramchandra Mission, Heartfulness Institute. And he had a very profound influence, because those who have known him will know that he is a very great speaker and a voracious reader and writer. The first time I met him in his home, I remember that he took me up to his library, and I was amazed. I actually asked him, Master, the Elamani Padichirikilla. He had thousands of books, and he said, pick any book. If you ask me anything, I'll tell you. I didn't do it though. After a month, I remember I bought a book, which I found was very interesting. The Dancing Woolly Masters. I don't know if you have read that book. It's a great collection of stories and real life examples on understanding practical physics and quantum physics. So I thought I had cracked it, and I took the book and went and presented him in his home in Gayatri. Oh, idua, nalla book poi padi. Idoda better book na unakku solren. Like a slap on the face. Not that I want to prove anything else, but so the journey started there. There was always this small trigger waiting to happen that I had to do something. And later, somewhere in 97, 98, I started meeting a few people in some networking events. And one of the networking events, someone said that, Prakash, you seem to talk a lot, you seem to know a lot of subjects. Why don't you put that into writing? Because for you to meet everyone in person and share this knowledge is going to take a lot of time. And that's how my first book in 1998 got released, You Too Can Sell. And the book was fortunately, I'm really fortunate that it was released by Charles Maharaj himself, the third guru of the heartfulness practice. And when the book came out, he really praised me for the work done because it was self-published effort. And we went on and on. And I was fortunate enough that the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th editions of the books, various books I wrote, were either written with a foreword. Here we have a friend, Mr. Brother Kumar Rajagopalan, who wrote the last chapters of my 12th and 13th book. My guru, Revered Daji, wrote the foreword of the same two books. So that way he is fortunate, and there was on the opening side, the foreword written by the guru himself, and the closing chapter was written by a good friend and a brother of mine. Prior to that, two books, Brother Anil had written the final chapter. I don't know whether he recalls. Brother R.R. Padmanabhan wrote a final chapter in one of the books. That was my habit. Always that I had someone writing something, so then I thought there will be a participative exercise that people all come together to share their wisdom. One thing I always share in my leadership session, which I am very clear, is that none of us are going to solve all the puzzles together, alone. We all have to come together because I have a portion of the puzzle with me, there is a portion of the puzzle with you. We all have to come together to put it for it to emerge into a larger puzzle which will help the world in one way or another. That's how, whether it's Recessionomics, which I coined way back in 2008, which subsequently became one of the best sellers, which was what we call the future proofing of business. Subsequently, when I started in 2014, coming out with a series of videos called Glorious India, and Charlie Maharaj, who was in the last leg of his life, had a look at the video and he said, you need to someday make it into a book. Those days it just came as a video and we had sent it to PMO's office and so many places. It was really interesting that many of these concepts had been picked up by many of the state and central governments in one way or another. And then I, with the help of my dear good friend Mr. Balachandran, who is here, who was then associate editor in Business Line, assistant editor in Business Line, when he heard that concept, which I wrote first 3 years ago, called PH Genomics, he was so impressed that he gave a big column in Business Line, and thank you for that. And that became the seed for my 14th book and the 16th, which is going to be the next book. Let me take that for a second to actually give you a run through. PH Genomics is a concept with which governments can actually run this world. Whether I know how to run a government or not, there are people who can sit and visualize on how things can happen. And the 16th book, which is already almost half written, will be a governance manual which will be given to corporates, which will be given to governments, which can be used by anyone to actually run on 3 foundational principles of peace, happiness and growth. So I answered the first question that I got a trigger that someone told me way back in 97 to write a book. And people asked me how I write books. I think Mr. Anil, in his talk, gave a sort of an inkling of what I do. And this book actually is very special to me for one simple reason. When I gave it to my wife, she was reading for the last 3 days. She said, for the first time I have seen you something writing very interesting. She has been one of my vocal critics. She tells straight on the face whether good or bad, and I have to thank her for that. And she did say that for a change, it looks very interesting. So that way I think I can pat myself in the back for writing something interesting. one of the questions which came from somebody when I finished this book is somebody asked, have you used AI to write this book? Straight question. Did you use AI? I told them this book has been in the making for last 14 years. The first version of the book I wrote way back in 2011. And then I kept rewriting. Right now, if you really want to know, I already have 8 books, a kernel and the content already ready, waiting in my file folder somewhere. Whenever I feel like it, I take it and give it a spin, write it further. I do use tools to ensure that there are no construction mistakes, grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes and things like that. The role of AI as of now on my books is close to zero. Why am I saying? Because the first question is, how much AI content goes into it? So go back, read the book, you will know what it really means. This book, that way, if you really look at it, how I construct is, I go back and rewrite. Among us, we also have a very interesting author, my close friend, Mr. Rajesh, who himself recently put it in his social media account that he has become a full-time author. And I'm really glad that he has made the time out to be here in front of us. Many of us here, each one in his own way, my friend Narendra Kumar as we call, we have co-traveled from ICSA days back in 2002 onwards. Each one that way has played a big part. Not to forget the part that Mr. Anand, my partner, has played in making of Sea Change, Mr. Anil, Mr. Kumar, and so many of you. Each and every one of you out here, in some way or another, you have been a part of my journey of helping the organizations to be run, and including writing of the books. And some of the YT channel members here, Mr. Stephen, who is the TOI Tamil channel editor. What very silent, very unassuming person, but they do tremendous content. We have Brother Supra, who is today literally a media celebrity in terms of mainstream channels. Each and every one of you. I don't want to spoil the surprise by saying something, but I will not say it. You wait for the end, you will see something of another dimension of another person who is present in this crowd. It has been a great journey till now, and it's not going to end. And several books already out there available. And this book, let me just give the construct behind the book before I wind up and pass on, because we would like to go by the time schedule, considering that all of you have other schedules after this. Many chose to ask me this question: how did you construct this book, and what is, normally you have a book construct concept. If you are an author, you will understand how you actually construct a book, what is the market it's going to serve and all that. When I wrote this book, 9 Habits of Super Successful MSMEs, I took 3 main foundational pillars on which I have constructed the book. How you run the business. Mr. Kumar was mentioning about 70 million MSMEs actually having a chance to use this book to change. I am talking mainly in English because this book is written in English, and hopefully soon I can feel the mind voice of Mr. Moses out here. Whenever I interact with him, he always says he's the founder director of Alidi Patiana, one of the biggest QSR chains in Tamil Nadu. From down south, they have come here and started at a very young age. I see a lot of budding authors, budding entrepreneurs, budding CEOs and executives. The construct goes into just 3 very simple acronym called what I call as T, F and E. Again, something which I picked up from Heartfulness Institute. There we speak about to think, to feel, to become and to be. Finally, you be that person that you want to become. So this I have taken as a TFE, which is based on 3 foundational principles. How do you think? And how do you convert that thinking into feeling? Because feeling is what gives the momentum for the thinking to become action. So there are a set of habits that you'll find in this book, which is based on how you can actually think as an MSME owner or an entrepreneur. Doesn't matter whether your turnover today is 1 lakh a month, 1 lakh a year, because having interacted even with groups which do 10, 20,000 crores turnover a year, I found that at all levels, finally the pain points are the same. You are a smaller entrepreneur, your pain point is small. They are bigger entrepreneur, the pain point is big, but the concept is the same. The same. If you are married, you will know that. Whether you are a king or a housemaker, the challenges with the spouse remain the same, right? So TFE stands for 3 elements: to think, to convert the thinking into an effective feeling and put these two into an effective executive action, moving it into execution. So founding, if you really go through even the slides that they showed in the beginning, you will find that initially I take you through a journey of how to think, and then move you to the way of how to feel in terms of handling your emotions and feelings and all that. And finally, in terms of how to execute the whole stuff. Because thinking alone is not going to give you success. You need to be able to connect. Those who are from the behavioral science will understand that thinking by itself does not produce results. You have to emotionally be connected to what you think. And the day you are able to emotionally connect to what you think is when it actually becomes action. If you go deeper into the topic of emotional intelligence, you'll understand that if I cut off your amygdala, you'll become a vegetable, which means you can think but you'll not be able to act. So based on these three, there is a balanced mix of these three elements which have come into this book. This book deliberately I kept close to my chest because it had been taking different contours every time I looked at it. If I had given it to Mr. Kumar by the time he finished reading, I would have rewritten the book already. So I didn't give this time the book to you, not to Mr. Anil, not to Mr. Patnavan. Because it's taking contour. Every time I looked at the content, it was last year I had finished the final cut, that's what I thought. And between last year and now, I have rewritten at least 5 to 6 times. And prior to that, for first 12 years, I had rewritten. It's written in very simple English, very, very simple, day to day. It will have an opening story, which is my style. A story connected to MSME. That story takes you to a construct of what the chapter is. And the chapter will tell you what are the do's and don'ts. And then it ends with a set of very clear habit formation inputs. As my dear partner, Mr. Anand mentioned, when I finished writing 9 habits, I felt there is something for the day-to-day which is still missing. Then I wrote a complete new chapter bringing 10 business habits that will help you right from managing your inventory to your sales to your outstanding and stuff like that. And then, which is normally my style, I wrote the final chapter maybe after a very, very long time for this book myself. What I call it the bird's eye view. It's going to be, I'm very sure, something that will leave a legacy behind, not because I wrote it, because it's a need of the hour, as Mr. Anand mentioned that 27th June being the International MSME Day, and the MSME's contribution and the pain points growing day by day, they need a lot of support. They will not be able to access directly and come and take help from people like us. So for all those who are looking at it, this is something which can become your bedside companion for you to use. I would only urge, if possible, go ahead and spread the news. It's not that we make money out of it, but mainly, as we all know, there is a cost involved to the printing, and in fact we are kept it to such an extent that if possible it should be given free, but in this world it's not possible. Kept it to the minimum. Let's see that it reaches as many MSMEs as possible in the world. About 7 years back, when me and Mr. Anand was meeting an MSME expert from Switzerland, he was saying that we take between 10 and 100 million as MSMEs in Europe. The size may be different, but all the problems seem to be the same. So I'm very sure that this book has all the qualities to become an international bestseller. And by his wish and by his guidance, hope that it becomes so, and all of you profit from this. Thanks a lot. Thanks for turning up, and thanks for helping me tell you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was quite overwhelming in terms of your passion poured into that reflection of the thoughts that you must have done on your book building. We have a very special announcement now, basically, very pleasant announcement. We want to share, it's a privilege for us to share that a very vital announcement is coming from Sea Change Consulting to the August gathering. And this will also impact to all the 70 MSMEs out there. Let us first start with the audio visual first on that. Anand. We have my dear friend Mr. M. Murali. Mr. M. Murali is basically a very seasoned Gen AI specialist. Whichever Indian Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Management, Indian Institute of Science you go, he will be the only person who will be talking of Gen AI. I now give the mic to both Mr. Murali and Mr. Anand.
Thank you, Mr. JNS. We have requested Mr. Prakash, sir, please be seated. We requested Mr. Prakash to give us 120 seconds to share some vital announcement. And Mr. Murali Sundaram, Gen AI expert who helps IIT Research Park as a director. He works very closely with IIT Research Park and various leading universities. He's a Gen AI expert. He's been helping students to build AI-based applications. We have met each other because we build a lot of experts in our sea change consulting empanelment. And thanks to Mr. GNS, he's the one who introduced Mr. Murali Sundaram. When we met first time, we found that there is a common interest, shared interest to serve the community, MSME community. And last 20 years, I've been thinking, why not I write a Thirukural for MSMEs? And each had the same interest. And today, MSME Kural is under cooking. About 40% we completed. And we are writing 1,330 kuralgal. எல்லாருக்கும் திருக்குறள் தெரியும். 1330 குறள்கள் பிஸ்னஸ் எம்எஸ்எம்இக்காக எழுத ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கோம். 133 அதிகாரம். ஈச் அதிகாரம்லேயும் 10 குறள்கள் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். அதில் ஜென் ஏஐ முரளி சுந்தரம் சார் வந்துட்டு பெரிய கான்ட்ரிபியூட்டர். அண்ட் டெஃபினெட்லி வி ஆர் டேக்கிங் ஹெல்ப் ஆஃப் ஏஐ. ஸோ ஆசிரியர் வணக்கம் அண்ட் கடவுள் வாழ்த்து மட்டும் இன்னைக்கு நாங்கள் ஷேர் பண்ண போகிறோம். மற்றதெல்லாம் நம்ம வெள்ளித்திரையில் காணலாம். ஓவர் டு யூ சார்.
Okay.
And why we are doing also, you can share. Just a minute.
Sure. Thank you. அனைவருக்கு வணக்கம். ஸோ திருக்குறள் எல்லாருக்கும் நம்ம தமிழர் பண்பாட்டில் மாத்திரம் இல்லை, உலக அளவில் கூட இட்ஸ் வெரி இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஷியல் புக். அதுக்கு ஒரு செறிவு இருக்குது. செறிவு இன் த சென்ஸ் தட் இட் இஸ் வெரி கன்சைஸ், நாட் ரெப்படிட்டிவ், அண்ட் இட் இஸ் ஏபிள் டு இட்ஸ் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் லைக் எ ஃபார்முலா யூ கேன் understand, keep applying it in many places. So when I interacted with Anand, I thought this MSME I had worked with, and they have this knowledge that is with them, and they write it in big books, and if you want to actually pass it on to generation, then we need to capture the essence of it, like the way Thirukural does. அந்த சிந்தனையில் ஒரு பொறி இருக்கு. அந்த பொறி அப்படின்னா ஆட்டோமேஷனுக்கு எல்லாமே ஒரு பொறி முக்கியம். அந்த பொறியை நம்ம உபயோகப்படுத்தினோன்னா அதை எல்லாருக்கும் கடத்த முடியும் அப்படிங்கிறது அதில் தான் ஆரம்பிக்குது. ஸோ அதே பரம்பரை, அந்த திருக்குறள் பரம்பரை மாதிரி ஆசிரியர் வணக்கம், கடவுள் வாழ்த்து, அதில் ஆரம்பித்து 3 அதிகாரம் வச்சுருக்கோம். அறம், பொருள், இன்பம். நான் திருப்பி நாங்கள் ஏஐ தான் கேட்டோம். அது நாங்கள் ஏஐ நிறைய யூஸ் பண்ணுறோம். Pardon us for that. We are leveraging that because இங்கே இருக்கிறது என்னன்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா, அந்த கருத்து எங்கள் மூலமாக நம்ம என்ன சொன்னோன்னா விதை நாம் போட்டது, அது வந்து அக்ரிகேட் பண்ணி அதை வந்து ஒரு வளர்த்து நமக்கு எடுத்து கொடுக்கறது. அது இன்னும் சரி, ஹியூமன் இந்த லூப்னு சொல்லுவாங்க ஏஐல. அதை இன்னும் செறிவுபடுத்தி நம்ம ஒரு ஃபார்முக்கு கொண்டு வரோம் நம்ம. ஸோ அது நமக்கு ஏஐல இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்காக சொன்னால், திருவள்ளுவர் வந்து தர்ம அர்த்த காமன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அறம், பொருள், இன்பம் மீறி விட்டுருக்காரு. அது ஏன்னா ஒவ்வொருத்தரோட ப்ராக்டிஸ் பிரகாரம், அவங்களோட பிலீஃப் பிரகாரம் பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்ட்டு. ஏஐ என்ன பண்ணிருக்குன்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, அறம், பொருள், இன்பம். ஆனால் நீங்கள் ஒரு தொழில் அப்படின்னு பார்க்குறப்போ அதுக்கு ஒரு டார்கெட் வரும் இல்லையா? அந்த மோட்சம் மாதிரி ஐ ஹவ் அச்சீவ் சம்திங் அப்படின்னு ஒரு எசன்ஸ் உங்களுக்கு வேணும் இல்லையா? அதனால அதுவும் அது இமேஜின் பண்ணி அறம், பொருள், இன்பம், வீடு 4 பால் எடுத்து கொடுத்து, இது 3 பால் கிடையாது, 4 பால் இருக்கிறது. அதுலேயும் கொஞ்சம் மாற்றி அமைச்சிருக்க வச்சுக்கணும். அது ஒரு புது இனோவேஷன். அது ஒன்று. ரெண்டாவது என்னன்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, இன்னும் ஒரே 2 நிமிஷம், சாரி ஃபார் இப்போ நிறைய புது கான்செப்ட்லாம் இருக்குது, இனோவேஷன் இருக்கு, டிசாஸ்டர் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் இருக்கு, டிசைன் திங்கிங் இருக்கு. இதெல்லாம் திருக்குறள்ல ஏன் பண்ணணும், அந்த ஃபார்மேட்ல ஏன் பண்ணணும்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா அதுக்கு ஒரு செறிவு இருக்கு. தாய்மொழியிலேயே நம்மளால கடத்த முடியும், தாய்மொழியிலே நம்ம கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ண தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும் இல்லையா? அதுக்கெல்லாம் வந்து டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன் மாத்திரம் போதாது, நமக்கு வந்து அந்த யாப்பு, அந்த பாக்கள், அந்த அது மூலமா நம்மளோட அறிவை ஒரு பரம்பரையிலேருந்து இன்னொரு பரம்பரைக்கு கடத்துறதுக்கு வேணும். அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு முயற்சி. இதை பற்றி பேச பேச எங்களுக்கு நிறைய ஐடியாஸ், இம்ப்ளிமெண்டேஷன்லாம் வந்துட்டு இருக்கு. ஸோ நான் உதாரணமாக திருக்குறளில் ஆசிரியர் வணக்கம், திருவள்ளுவருக்கு வணக்கம் மாதிரியும், கடவுள் வாழ்த்து, அப்புறம் ஒரு சாம்பிளாக 2-3 குறள் படித்து வரேன். நான் எல்லாத்துலேயும் பொருள், குறள், பொருள் இப்போ பிளான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஃபியூச்சரில் என்ன பண்ணலான்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா, இது மாதிரி வேறு ஏதாவது புக்கில் இருக்கா, நம்ம 7 ஹேபிட்ஸோ 9 ஹேபிட்ஸ்லையோ இருந்ததுன்னா கிராஸ் ரெஃபரன்ஸ் பண்ணி கொடுக்கலாம். அந்த ஒர்க்கும் நம்ம ஆனந்த் சார் இஸ் ஒர்க்கிங் ஆன் தட். ஓகே. ஸோ நம்ம முதல்ல ஆசிரியர் வணக்கம், அதில் நம்ம பழைய இதெல்லாம் என்னன்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா பாயிரம்னு ஒன்று கொடுக்குறோம் எல்லா இதுலேயும் பாட்டுலையும். பாயிரம் இஸ் லைக் ப்ரீஆம்பிள், அந்த இதில் என்ன சொல்ல போகிறோம் நம்ம அப்படின்ட்டு. ஸோ ஆசிரியர் வணக்கம் அப்படிங்கிற அதிகாரத்தின் பாயிரம் அது என்ன, தொழிற்கு வழிகாட்டி துணையாம் குருவே, தொழிற்கு வழிகாட்டி துணையாம் குருவே, பழிதிலா செல்வம் பயக்கும். அதை பற்றி அவரை பற்றி அந்த குருவை வணங்குறப்போ நமக்கு வந்து செல்வம், அது வந்து ஃபிசிக்கலாகவும் வச்சுக்கலாம், மணியாகவும் வச்சுக்கலாம், ஆசட்ஸாகவும் வச்சுக்கலாம் அப்படிங்கிறாங்க. இது ரொம்ப எளிய குறள் தான் வச்சுக்கோங்க. 2வது குறள், 2வது இல்லை ஆக்சுவலாக இது 10வது குறள், இந்த சாம்பிள். குருவருள் பெற்றோர் குறைவிலா மாண்போடு தொழில் வளர்ந்து ஓங்குவர் நன்கு. புரியுற மாதிரி இருப்பாருங்க, நம்ம சொல்லி முடிச்ச உடனே ஒரு கனெக்ட் வந்துடுது உங்களுக்கு. கடவுள் வாழ்த்து அதே மாதிரி பாயிரம், அது என்ன சொல்ல போறோம், தொழிலின் முதற் பொருள். அதோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இது என்ன, தொழிலின் முதற் பொருள் அறநெறி யாதெனில் கடவுளை போற்றி செயல். அதோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நம்ம எல்லாம் பண்ண வேண்டியது என்னன்னா, கடவுளை போற்றி நம்ம அறத்தை ஃபாலோ பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தான். அப்படின்ட்டு அதுக்குள்ள இருக்கிற சாம்பிள் குறள், நேர்வழி காட்டி நெறிமுறை பேணிட அருள்வாய் முழு முதல் பொருளே. அவருக்கு நம்ம வணக்கம் செலுத்தி எனக்கு நான் என் தொழில் ஒழுங்கா பண்றதுக்கு எனக்கு நீங்க தான் அருள் புரியணும் அப்படின்ட்டு. ஓகே. இப்போ வந்து இனோவேஷன் சொல்லிருக்கேன். இனோவேஷன்லயும் அந்த இறை ஆற்றல் ஒன்று இருக்கு அப்படிங்கிறாங்க. புது புது ஆக்கம் புனையும் திறனே இறை ஆற்றல் எம்முள் இயக்கம் அப்படின்ட்டு. அதுதான் எனக்குள்ள இருக்கிற அந்த இறையாண்மையோட ஆக்டிவிட்டி வந்து இனோவேஷனா வருது அப்படின்ட்டு வந்திருக்கு. அதை நாங்க ஒழுங்குபடுத்திருக்கோம்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அதிகாரம் வந்து தொழில் தொடங்கும் எண்ணம். இஃப் யூ வாண்ட் டு ஸ்டார்ட் எனிதிங் இட் ஹாஸ் டு கம் ஃப்ரம் தாட்ஸ். அதுலேருந்து வருது. ஒன்றே ஒன்று படிச்சிருக்கேன். அதுல பாயிரம், அதை பத்தி எதை பத்தி சொல்ல போறோம், தொழிலின் திறவுகோல் எண்ணமே ஆகும். எளிமையா தான் இருக்கும். அழியா செல்வமும் அதுவே அருளும், இதுவும் எளிமையா தான் இருக்கு. அது வந்து பாயிரம். அது இனோவேஷன் வருவாங்க. புதுமை புனைவான் பொருள் மிக ஈட்டி அது வளர்ச்சிக்காம் அரண். எதுக்கு இனோவேஷன் பண்ணணும்னா உங்களை ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறது, அதுவே செக்யூரிட்டி அப்படிங்கிறனால அது சொல்றது. ஓகே. தாய்மொழி பத்தி சொல்லிடுறேன். சாரி ஃபார் டேக்கிங் டைம், மை அப்பாலஜிஸ். தாய்மொழியில நம்ம ஏன் படிக்கணும் அப்படின்ட்டு, விளங்கிடும் உரிமை யாவர்க்கும் உண்டாத. உங்களுக்கு ஒரு விஷயம் புரியணும்னா அது எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து இட் இஸ் த ரைட் அப்படிங்கிறாப்புல அந்த கருத்து சொல்றது. தாய்மொழி பகிர்தல் கடல், விளங்கிடும் உரிமை யாவர்க்கும் உண்டாதால் தாய்மொழி பகிர்தல் கடல் அப்படின்னு சொல்றது. இது இன்னும் அடுத்தது இன்னும் எளிமையா இருக்கு. இதயத்து மொழியினில் இன்னுரை பகிர்தல் இணைத்திடும் வாடிக்கையாளரை. அவங்களுக்கு எளிமையா புரியுற மாதிரி சொல்றதுதான் இது கனெக்ட் வித் யுவர் கஸ்டமர் அப்படிங்கிறப்ப. கடைசியில் தொழில் முனைவோர் பண்பு, அதுல டிசைன் திங்கிங் மாத்திரம் ஒன்று சொல்லிடுறேன் ஒரு சாம்பிளுக்கு. அது எல்லாம் எந்த மாதிரிலாம் அதுக்கு ஒரு வீச்சு இருக்கு அப்படின்ட்டு. அந்த பாயிரம் பத்தின தொழில் முனைவோன் பண்பு, தொழில் முனைவோன் பண்பு தூய அறத்தின் வழி நின்று, தூய அறத்தின் வழி நின்று ஆள்வதே மாண்பு, ஆள்வதே மாண்பு. தொழில் முனைவோன் பண்பு தூய அறத்தின் வழி நின்று ஆள்வதே மாண்பு. ரொம்ப அழகா மீட்டர்லாம் கரெக்டாக வருதுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. டிசைன் திங்கிங் அதை பற்றி ரொம்ப படிச்சதுக்கப்புறம் ஒரு உற்சாகமாகவும் இருக்கு, சந்தோஷமாகவும் இருந்தேன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். பயன்படுவோர் நிலை ஆய்ந்து வடிவமைப்பின் வியன்பொருள் ஆக்கம் சிறப்பு. நீங்கள் அதை கிரியேட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி அவங்களுக்கு யாருக்கு நம்ம கொடுக்குறோமோ அவங்களோட யூசேஜ், அந்த பயன்படுவோர் நிலை ஆய்ந்து நீங்கள் அதோட வடிவம் அமைக்கணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் டிசைன் திங்கிங்கோட கோர் அப்படிங்கிறது நமக்கு திருக்குறள் வடிவில் கிடைக்கிறது. ஸோ இது மாதிரி தான் நாங்கள் முயற்சி பண்ண போகிறோம். எங்கள் முயற்சி பண்ணுறதுக்கு நிறைய பேர் சப்போர்ட்டும் வேணும், ஆதரவு வேணும். அதுக்கு ஒரு முதல் அறிமுகமாக இதை ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ணுறோம். தேங்க்யூ.
Thank you, Anji. Thank you, Mr. Murli. So, I think it is time to be grateful for the human beings who are all present here. First of all, thank you, Mr. Anil, for taking your time off and being a chief guest for this evening, in spite of your need to reach the airport very soon. Thank you so much. Thank you also, Mr. Kumar, for joining us here and giving us your blessings and also your thoughts. I'd like to extend sincere thanks to all the media support people who are here. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming here and giving your support in covering this event, which is going to be a feather in the cap for us. And all of you who have gathered here this evening, spending your time with us during this time, thank you for coming and participating in this event. I'd like to also thank my colleagues in Sea Change Consulting. Let me start with Madam Mrs. Srividya. Thank you for all the work that you've done she has done a lot of work in making this program. For your information, the AV that you saw has been prepared by her. Let's give her a round of applause. And also Mrs. Usha, who has also supported us along with her team. Thank you very much for your support. Thanks to my dear buddies, I think I can use that word, Sriram, Sri Murli, as well as Naren. Naren and I share a very good friendship and relationship. And yeah, Joseph Nivasan, thank you very much. And also, Madam Mrs. Prakash, thank you for joining us here. Thanks to everybody. We also would like to place on record a sincere thanks to the Andhra Chamber of Commerce team which is here and the auspicious of the organization for giving us this place, conducting this event. Of course, a special thanks goes to Mr. Anand, who has been instrumental in, because he is very closely connected with the Andhra Chamber of Commerce. And of course, last but not the least, sincere thanks to Mr. Prakash for giving us yet another gem of a book. Thank you very much, sir. And if I have missed out anybody, I'm not thanking myself anyway. So, so if I have missed out anybody, please do not mistake me. And I think this event comes to a good end today evening, and I request all of you to have a bit of a snacks and a cup of coffee. Thank you very much for joining us.
Sure. We are going to have national anthem now. A quick announcement. We welcome each one of you to be part of our Sea Change publication. We all can co-write, co-author, co-craft books. So anybody who's interested to publish your book, please connect with us. National anthem, please. Thank you.